friends ever since.
I can't really explain how insane last night turned out to be. I went to Oriental Force in Quenji, which is this basement bar, and you go through these doors that feel like you're stepping into some other dimension. They've got like skulls on the wall and glow in the dark paint and, you know, interesting art all over the walls. There's a bunch of people in there with these tables that took up the entire room, which was literally about the size of my hallway at home. And they had all this modular gear on it, which was always cool to see. But then I turn up, you know, barely speaking any Japanese with my M8 and my launch pad. And I think they were like, what the fuck is going on here? Although, to be fair, by the end of the night, it was me that thought they were all fucking nuts, because they had these really interesting, you know, noise machines that they built. One of the guys had, you know, he did this noise set. And he had mannequins, or like plastic style mannequin things that he had circuit bent and built all these, I think they were banana jack holes into them, and he was caressing, is the only way I can describe it, the mannequin to make noise from. The other guy who was playing had, like, I think some kind of traditional Japanese wind instrument, and he was playing that through his modular system, kind of like Jason Lim from Instruo does, and it just sounded really cool. But what a stark contrast to this guy who was playing his noise set. And then we had another guy who I genuinely think gave me PTSD, because he was this really quiet guy, and he had this mental kind of steampunk-esque machine that he'd created, and it had a bunch of different modules, DIY ones, Nixie tubes and things like that, and it looked really cool. And he started out by doing a noise set on the ground, and then all of the power cut out, and he couldn't figure out what was going on. He was checking cables and everything, and I thought, oh, that's a shame, he's going to have to give up and stop playing. But then he started to fire up a Tesla coil, which has got this high voltage danger sign on it. And he gives us all glow sticks, and the Tesla coil is lighting up the glow sticks in the air and stuff, which is pretty cool. But then he started setting things on fire, which is the only way I can describe it. There was like gas canisters or something he had all over this thing and on his belt. And at first he was doing wee bits, and I was a bit concerned because the room, as I mentioned, was very small indeed, and we were sitting like centimetres from this guy who's fucking swinging this thing around. And since his electronics had just failed on his modular, I had to question his technical knowledge at that point. But just when I thought, okay, he knows what he's doing, this is all part of the act, he like blasts me in the face with a fireball. Which was genuinely, I was genuinely fearful for my life. Like, I thought, we are going to be in the news, promising electronic musician from Scotland tragically dies in Inferno in Japanese basement. It really, this would not fly in Scotland. It was fucking, I can't describe how fucking nuts it was. It was really bizarre. And I what can you say? Anyway, after that, my mask felt fairly pedestrian, and so my set wasn't quite as strange as I thought it might be. although I did try to get my own back on Take No G, as the, you know, plague-masked madman was calling himself, and I tried to get him to salsa dance with me, but he was very resistant. However, I thought that since he had just effectively scarred me for life and burned off my cornea, that I deserved to make him feel a wee bit awkward, so I persisted for a while. I do like how he went from being very quiet to doing this insane thing, and then went back to pretending to be a normal, quiet man again. You know, Japan. After this, we went back to Shimokitazawa. Went to a few bars there, and one in particular had this guy who was showing us this record that he'd made, splicing 4 different vinyl records together. And so we kind of press ganged him to play a bit of it, and he starts like DJing in the bar with this record that is skipping over different, you know, different albums, I guess.
Yeah. What were you doing in front?
He starts like scratching and spinning. He's mixing in with the music that was on his iPod or whatever it was. And then he had a chaos pad hanging on the wall, and he's like doing time delay repeats and all this shit. And it was really fucking impressive, and just, I don't know.